No, I haven't spoken to Harry.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where celebrity drama and royal secrets crash together in the wildest ways. Today we're digging into a story that has the tabloids going crazy and social media blowing up like fireworks in the sky. A global superstar who's dominated football stadiums and fashion runways just dropped a cold but classy rejection toward one of Hollywood's loudest names. And his words, "I don't know her," with those four little words, said with a mix of humor and sharp finality, he shook the entire internet. Yes, we're talking about David Beckham, freshly honored, glowing with pride, and standing taller than ever. Beckham reportedly brushed off Meghan Markle's request to appear in her flashy new Netflix project. This wasn't just a missed appearance, it was a move loaded with meaning. It screamed loyalty, hinted at broken friendships, and sent a quiet but powerful message toward the royal family, especially Princess Catherine. The timing couldn't have been more cutting, and the way it's playing out has people whispering about old ties turning into cold rivalries. Before we dive straight into the details that everyone can't stop talking about, make sure you've hit that like button and subscribed, because these twists in high society are coming fast, and you don't want to be left behind. Now let's rewind a little, because this moment didn't happen in a vacuum. David Beckham isn't just a football legend, he's a global phenomenon, a man whose every move makes headlines and whose silence speaks louder than most people's words. And this silence? Oh, it's echoing across the globe, from his golden days leading England on the pitch to building an empire of sponsorships and starring in that binge-worthy Netflix documentary that had everyone hooked. David Beckham's rise has been nothing short of legendary, and what makes it even more powerful is how he's managed to keep tight ties with the royal family. Ties that have survived storms, scandals, and endless headlines. Think back to when he received his OBE in 2017. That was just the warm-up act. The real headline came years later, in June 2025, when King Charles dropped a bombshell on his official birthday honours list. David Beckham wasn't just being celebrated, he was knighted. That's right, he officially became Sir David Beckham, recognised not only for his incredible sports legacy, but also for his unwavering commitment to charity. What a moment of glory. The announcement had fans going wild, praising a man who's not only conquered football and fashion, but also poured his heart into causes like UNICEF and so much more. But behind the applause, another storyline was brewing, and it had Meghan Markle's name written all over it. Whispers from insiders claim that months before the knighthood news broke, an invitation had quietly landed on David Beckham's desk. The timing, perfectly aligned with Meghan pushing her Archewell production plans into overdrive. The offer was for him to appear on her upcoming lifestyle series, maybe swapping family advice, dropping fashion tips, or even joining in on her much-talked-about jam-making segment that's become her quirky trademark. On paper, it looked like a flawless fit, at least in Meghan's eyes, but the reality? Oh, that's where the drama begins. Once upon a time, the Beckhams and the Sussexes were seen laughing together at star-studded events, looking like close allies in the spotlight. But time has a way of flipping the script, and those smiles have now turned into silence. What began as a harmless invitation quickly spiraled into a full-blown saga of rejection and revelation. David's answer? A straight-up no, sealed with those unforgettable words that echoed a famous diva's sharp one-liner, "I don't know her." And the timing couldn't have been more brutal.
Whenever the Prince of Wales sends me a message and says, "I need you to do this or be there," it's always a yes. So when Catherine's asked me to be part of Foundation, I was very honoured, very privileged.
Just as Meghan was pushing for his cameo, Beckham was proudly showing off his shiny new title, Sir David, during a moment deeply connected to Princess Catherine's world. It wasn't just a decline, it was a message, a silent mic drop that had people whispering about envy, loyalty, and royal power plays, shaking the Hollywood-Windsor connection. This isn't just gossip. It's a peek behind the curtain at how celebrity envy collides with royal reverence, and how honours like Beckham's can turn into shields for tradition. So let's roll it back and break down how David Beckham rose to become what many call the unofficial ambassador for the British royals. Because while plenty of stars pass through those elite circles, Beckham's bond with the Windsors runs far deeper than the usual celebrity handshake. Back in the early 2000s, when David Beckham was dazzling crowds with Manchester United and later Real Madrid, He and Victoria were already stepping into circles most stars could only dream of. Charity galas became the meeting point where football royalty casually mingled with real royalty, and it all looked seamless. No awkwardness, just pure glamour and respect. Prince William was often spotted in the mix, and the bond only grew stronger from there. Fast forward to 2011, the wedding that had the entire world watching. William and Catherine's fairy tale ceremony. And right there, front and centre, sat David and Victoria Beckham, blending star power with elegance in a way that turned every camera their way. Insiders remember David sharing an animated conversation with the groom, trading stories about life in the spotlight, the kind of pressures that only someone at the top could truly understand. But this wasn't just polite small talk. It was connection. David reportedly admired how William managed to juggle duty with family life, a balance that mirrored the path David and Victoria were carving out while raising their own children. It was more than friendship. It was mutual respect, sealed in those rare moments where worlds collide. And then there's Catherine, forever the quiet favourite of the royals. Insiders say David has always admired her calm grace, but his respect only deepened after her health battles made headlines. In early 2024, Beckham stunned fans when reports revealed he quietly visited her in the hospital. No flashing cameras, no staged photo ops, just a loyal friend showing up when it mattered most.
The most special moment for me was when I received my OBE.
That single gesture said more than 1,000 words, and it didn't go unnoticed by the royal family. When Meghan and Harry entered the royal scene in 2017, the Beckhams seemed eager to welcome them in. Invitations to private dinners, public support during Meghan's early London days. It all looked like the start of a powerful friendship. Victoria even stepped in with fashion advice, according to whispers at the time. But that honeymoon phase didn't last long. Behind the scenes, rumours started flying about leaked stories to the press, and the blame allegedly landed on David. Insiders claim he was furious at being accused of betraying trust, and from that point on, the cracks were impossible to ignore. By 2018, the fallout was crystal clear. The Beckhams scored an invite to the Sussex wedding ceremony, but were noticeably snubbed from the exclusive reception. That missing invite spoke volumes, and the tension only grew from there. From frosty interviews to carefully dropped shade, the friendship that once promised glam and unity had completely unraveled, leaving behind a trail of suspicion and bruised egos. David's Netflix documentary in 2023 turned into a global smash, dominating headlines and pulling in record views. The timing was brutal. It completely outshined Harry and Meghan's own Netflix series, which critics tore apart for feeling staged and lacking real heart. The contrast was impossible to ignore. David's raw authenticity against the Sussexes' polished but flat delivery. And then came the Jam Wars of 2025. Meghan rolled out her lifestyle brand with heavy hype, fronted by her homemade strawberry jam, a carefully crafted image of simplicity and warmth. But David wasn't about to let that spotlight pass him by. Enter Beck Jam, a cheeky plum preserve video that went viral overnight. With Victoria's playful voiceover dripping with wit, the clip had fans laughing, clapping, and even buying into the joke. Audiences saw it as more than just a culinary stunt. It was a sly swipe at Meghan's carefully polished image, one that many already doubted for its authenticity. But while the playful jabs kept fans entertained, Beckham's loyalty to the royals never wavered. From publicly cheering on England's national teams during royal patron events to openly applauding Princess Catherine's strength during her recovery, he kept showing where his heart stood. And when Catherine returned to the spotlight with grace, David was one of the first to praise her resilience, sealing his reputation as not just a football legend, but a steadfast royal ally. It's against this backdrop that David Beckham's latest move hits even harder. Meghan's invitation reportedly arrived by email straight from Archewell, pitching him a glossy segment on blending fame with family life. For a split second, David considered it. His advisors even hinted that saying yes could mend old wounds and build a new bridge. But deep down, his instincts screamed, no, this wasn't just a random decline. It was a decision forged from years of quiet loyalty to the monarchy's core, a loyalty that only grew stronger after his knighthood. With the title of Sir David Beckham freshly earned, what better time to make it crystal clear where his heart truly belongs? And here's where the drama really takes off. the infamous invitation itself. In early 2025, while Archewell was buzzing with ideas for Meghan's next Netflix project, she shifted gears after the lukewarm reception of her past series. This time, she wanted something softer, warmer, more relatable, a lifestyle show rumoured to be called As Ever Moments. Picture cosy chats by the fireplace, celebrity guests whipping up recipes in the kitchen, and glossy conversations about everyday life, carefully packaged for the cameras. And in Meghan's mind, David Beckham was the crown jewel guest, a global icon with family values, fashion credibility, and royal connections, exactly the kind of star power she believed could save the show. David Beckham checks every box: global superstar, devoted family man, and a charm that makes headlines wherever he goes. So when an email slid into his circle through mutual contacts, it was polished and tempting. "David, we'd love for you to join us for an episode on balancing legacy with personal joy. Your story with Victoria and the kids would inspire so many." The pitch even dangled a spotlight on his charity work, nodding to his role as a UNICEF ambassador. On paper, it looked flawless, a so-called win-win. For Meghan, having Beckham on her show meant instant credibility and a surge of star power to lift her brand. And for David, it was framed as a chance to grow his American reach even further, but the glossy words couldn't cover the tension bubbling beneath the surface. Behind the scenes, this wasn't a clean slate. It was a reminder of broken ties, bruised trust, and years of messy history that no email could smooth over. Insiders reveal Meghan's team went all in, convinced they could spark up the old Beckham-Sussex friendship just enough to make it shine on camera. They pointed to Brooklyn Beckham sharing a dinner with Harry and Meghan only months earlier as proof the bond wasn't totally broken. But behind the glossy smiles, whispers said Victoria was far from happy about it, while David tried to keep the peace, playing the role of diplomat. Still, when the proposal landed in his inbox, the cracks couldn't be ignored. Friends who sat with him at dinner remember his quiet doubts spilling out. "Why now? After everything that's happened, after all the water under the bridge?" he reportedly asked. Those words revealed the hesitation no PR spin could hide. What looked like an easy yes on paper suddenly felt like reopening an old wound that had never fully healed. The scars from the feud were still raw. Back in 2017, leaked texts reportedly showed David venting about press intrusions. Intrusions he believed were unfairly tied back to Meghan's circle. Her team denied any role, but by then the damage was done, and trust had already started to crumble. The tension only grew with public spats, like whispers of Victoria throwing shady eye rolls at Meghan's fashion choices, or David's icy silence when it came time to promote the Sussexes' Netflix documentaries. So when Meghan's shiny new proposal landed, it didn't stand a chance of sliding through unnoticed. Weeks went by as David's team carefully drafted a reply, not hostile, but sharp enough to draw a line in the sand. The message was polite on the surface. "Thank you for the kind offer, but unfortunately our schedules don't align. David's current commitments to UK-based projects must take precedence." Off the record, though, insiders claim the real decision had already been made long before that email was sent. Beckham wasn't stepping back into that arena, not now, not ever. When the Knighthood announcement dropped in June, David Beckham wasn't just celebrating a title, he was reflecting on what true legacy means. Not quick collabs, not temporary headlines, but bonds that have stood the test of time. So when he snubbed Meghan's invitation, it wasn't just about skipping a show, it was a calculated reclaiming of his own narrative, a reminder of where his loyalty truly lies. And soon enough, every move he made seemed to circle back to Catherine, the royal who continues to win hearts around the world. And then came the 4 words that lit the gossip world on fire. "I don't know her." Those words weren't locked behind closed doors. They exploded into the public arena, instantly becoming the unofficial catchphrase for Beckham's icy rejection. For tabloids, it was gossip gold, a moment so subtle yet seismic that it echoed through pop culture like a mic drop. Some called it a dismissal, others saw it as a power move, but either way, it was bold. And for Beckham, it wasn't about pettiness. It was about guarding his lane, protecting his image, and making sure everyone knew exactly where he stood. After years of being cast as the villain in the never-ending Sussex-Beckham saga, this moment felt like Beckham's version of closure. Flashback to the 2018 royal wedding. David and Victoria showed up in style, but their snub from the ultra-exclusive after-party hit like a slap in the face. Rumours swirled that Meghan suspected David of leaking stories to the paparazzi, an accusation he fiercely denied. Still, the trust was gone, and the chill in their friendship only deepened from there. Fast forward to 2025, and the infamous jam wars turned the tension into entertainment. Meghan rolled out her, as ever, strawberry jam with glossy branding and picture-perfect vibes, while David clapped back with his cheeky Beck jam video. Victoria's witty narration gave the whole thing bite, and fans couldn't get enough. Millions of views poured in, with audiences praising Beckham's effortless humour while calling Meghan's version stiff and overproduced. For many, that viral moment wasn't just a playful stunt, it was Beckham's subtle way of reclaiming the narrative and flipping the script once and for all. Fans ate it up, flooding comment sections with takes like authentic versus aspirational, a simple line that summed up the showdown perfectly. Meghan's public response? Absolute silence. But behind the curtain, sources claim her team was scrambling, trying to spin up some positive PR to drown out the noise. For Beckham, though, the refusal wasn't just shade. It was personal principle. Advisors quietly warned him about possible backlash from Meghan's loyal supporters, but David wasn't budging. Insiders say he told friends straight up, "I've got my family, my honours, and my real friends. No need for drama." That one line showed exactly where his priorities were, and the timing couldn't have been sharper, right as the buzz around his knighthood was peaking. As the ceremony drew closer, Beckham leaned harder into his royal ties, making sure there wasn't even a hint of Hollywood crossover. Publicly, he kept it polished and classy, sharing posts about gratitude to the king and reflecting on his own journey, a masterclass in staying above the noise while letting the world connect the dots. Behind closed doors, the snub was the talk of elite circles. One insider even revealed it was liberating for him, no more walking on eggshells. For Beckham, this wasn't just a polite no, it was a release. Meanwhile, Meghan's show pushed forward without him, but the whispers started almost instantly, rumours of casting headaches and behind-the-scenes struggles. And while her project faced turbulence, David's stock only climbed higher. His documentary continued to dominate, standing in sharp contrast to the Sussexes' ongoing battles to stay relevant. This single moment drew a clear line in the sand. Old money versus new fame, tradition versus reinvention. And by choosing tradition, David wasn't merely turning down an invite, he was making a statement. A declaration that his loyalty and identity were firmly rooted in legacy, not Hollywood experiments. He wasn't just setting a boundary, he was reaffirming where his roots truly lie, and the story only intensifies when Catherine enters the frame. Beckham's support for the Princess of Wales has been nothing short of steadfast. From his quiet hospital visits to his public words of praise during her return to royal duties, every gesture underscored his loyalty. This latest snub didn't just draw a line, it amplified his role as a reliable ally in a world where allegiances often shift like sand. It's the portrait of quiet strength, subtle, dignified, and deeply resonant far beyond the tabloids. And then came the crowning moment. Sir David Beckham, his long-awaited knighthood, finally announced in King Charles's birthday honours on June 13th, 2025. The reaction? Absolute jubilation. For fans, for family, and for Beckham himself. It marked the end of a decades-long wait and the ceiling of his legacy. At 50, Beckham's knighthood carried the weight of decades. He had received his OBE years earlier, yet the coveted Sir had long eluded him, sidelined in part by whispers of past tax controversies. Now, however, the honour stood as an unshakable acknowledgement, celebrating not just his iconic football career, but also his sharp business ventures and tireless philanthropy, from global malaria campaigns to children's education programs. The palace's statement was measured and regal, commending Beckham for his inspirational leadership on and off the pitch. His own response was all heart. In interviews, his voice cracked with emotion as he dedicated the achievement to Victoria, their children, and the fans who, in his words, have been with me every step of the way. It was Beckham at his most genuine, humble, grateful, and undeniably aware of the history being written around him. The knighthood ceremony at Buckingham Palace unfolded like a moment from history. Beckham, immaculately dressed in a tailored suit that balanced tradition with subtle flair, knelt before King Charles in a tableau of respect and recognition. Yet, the gravity of the day extended beyond personal achievement. Coming so soon after his quiet but firm rejection of Meghan's overture, the honour resonated as an establishment's seal of approval, a validation of where his loyalties truly lay. For Beckham, insiders suggest, the timing carried a message: steadfastness is rewarded. Royal commentators were quick to point out the symbolism, interpreting his elevation as a subtle alignment with the crown, and more specifically, with Catherine's return to royal duties. It was hardly coincidence that his first public engagement as Sir David Beckham was staged in a setting closely connected to the Princess of Wales, signalling both admiration and solidarity. The occasion was no ordinary appearance. It was a glittering charity gala dedicated to children's health, a cause that mirrored Catherine's long-standing advocacy from her earliest days in the public eye. Beckham arrived with quiet confidence, his newly earned knighthood pin catching the light, and his speech struck a chord. He spoke of service, humility, and those who carry responsibilities with dignity under the harshest scrutiny, an unmistakable nod to the Princess of Wales. Online, the reaction was immediate and emphatic. Social feeds buzzed with praise, branding him the People's Knight, and holding his grounded authenticity against the backdrop of flashier, self-promotional celebrity antics. Even the critics who once questioned his worthiness conceded that his post-football ventures, from UNICEF work to building into Miami, had carved a legacy deserving of recognition. For Beckham, this moment wasn't about self-glory. It was about cementing a narrative of service, family, and loyalty over spectacle. It was more than just a personal milestone. It was a moment that reasserted Beckham's place in the fabric of British identity. Against the backdrop of Meghan's rejected offer, the contrast became impossible to ignore. Here was a man choosing heritage, honour, and duty over the fleeting allure of Hollywood collaborations. As one close friend put it, Sir David isn't chasing the spotlight, he's finally standing in the one he's earned. This chapter of his story marked a turning point. The knighthood wasn't tucked away as a trophy. Beckham wore it with purpose. Each appearance, each gesture carried quiet symbolism, and soon it became clear he intended to channel that recognition not into self-promotion, but into amplifying his steadfast allegiance to Princess Catherine, a deliberate alignment with the royal figure who, in the eyes of many, embodies grace, resilience, and the heart of modern monarchy. Just days after kneeling before the king, Beckham wasted no time in showing what the honour meant in practice. His first outing came at a Windsor-adjacent function, where Sir David Beckham was proudly printed on invitations and name tags, a subtle but powerful reminder of his new standing. Yet the true statement unfolded weeks later at a more intimate affair, a garden party in July 2025, hosted by the Royal Foundation for Early Childhood Development, Catherine's signature cause. Arriving arm in arm with Victoria, Beckham looked every inch the night, engaging warmly with guests and sharing easy laughter. There was no spectacle, no tabloid-fueled tension, only a quiet, deliberate show of allegiance. Insiders revealed Catherine, glowing in her post-recovery return, took note. To her, his presence was more than attendance. It was a gesture of solidarity, a reassurance that some allies remain unwavering when the royal spotlight grows heavy. David's been a rock, one guest at the garden party shared. He spoke warmly about Catherine's resilience, calling her the heart of the family, a subtle but unmistakable contrast to the Sussex narrative. It wasn't shade for the sake of drama, it was a celebration of unity, loyalty, and enduring ties. Beckham's connection with Catherine runs deep. That quietly reported 2024 hospital visit revealed his concern during her toughest moments, long before headlines ever caught wind. Now, elevated to Sir David, he amplified that support with a social post from the event. Honoured to support causes close to home, grateful for leaders like those shaping tomorrow, fans instantly read it as pro-Catherine, perfectly timed with her stepped-up royal duties. Meanwhile, Meghan's show struggled with ratings and buzz, highlighting the stark contrast. Beckham's every move reinforced his closeness to the crown, turning loyalty into a public statement that resonated across social media and high society alike. Victoria stepped in alongside David, her outfits carefully echoing Catherine's signature elegance, a quiet but unmistakable visual signal of alliance and respect. This wasn't accidental. Insiders say every choice was deliberate, a gesture of calculated warmth. Beckham reportedly even declined other invitations to prioritize these gatherings, telling close friends, "Family and friends first, always." The garden party hummed with energy, raising both funds and spirits. For Catherine, under the glare of public scrutiny, David's presence was more than support. It was reassurance, a reminder that she had steadfast allies in her corner. In this setting, Sir David wasn't just flaunting a personal achievement, he was spotlighting loyalty, weaving his own honour into a broader narrative of unity and dedication. It was the ultimate statement. His allegiance is to tradition, integrity, and those who share his values. And this is exactly why the snub to Meghan landed with such force. David's actions weren't about pettiness, they were about principle, showing the world which side of history he's standing on. Looking closer, the Beckham-Sussex feud is layered with betrayal, ambition, and shifting loyalties, which make David's firm stance far more understandable. At first, it all seemed promising. In 2017, Meghan stepped onto the London scene, and the Beckhams extended friendship, dinners, fashion advice, and even wedding invitations. But cracks appeared as paranoia over press leaks began to surface. David, hurt by accusations he had leaked stories, started pulling back, keeping his distance. By 2018, the snub from the Sussex wedding reception confirmed the chill between the families. Fast forward to the era of Harry's memoirs and Netflix documentaries, which painted the royal family in a harsh light, while David remained silent, focusing on his own brand and commitments. Then came the 2023 Netflix clash. David's documentary was a massive hit, winning awards, while the Sussexes series faced criticism and snubs. The infamous jam incident added fuel to the fire, with David's playful Beck jam video read by fans as a cheeky dig at Meghan's earnest but overproduced venture. Even Brooklyn Beckham dining with the Sussexes stirred family tension, yet David continued prioritizing his royal connections over Hollywood headlines, cementing his position as loyal and strategically aligned. David Beckham's loyalty to Catherine is deeply personal. Her resilience mirrors Victoria's strength, and his UNICEF work aligns naturally with causes she champions. Insiders say the snub wasn't about drama. It was about maintaining peace and avoiding entanglement in Meghan's ever-shifting PR orbit. The knighthood served as a royal seal, quietly validating every decision he made. Publicly, David signals allegiance not to fleeting fame, but to the family he respects and values. This isn't petty rivalry, it's about principles. Beckham consistently chooses tradition, discretion, and family privacy over Hollywood spectacle. For Catherine, his support acts as a protective shield against criticism and negativity. One insider summed it up plainly: he's all in for the Wales family. That's his line. This dynamic reshapes how celebrity figures interact with royalty, favouring authenticity and loyalty over opportunistic alliances. Beckham's legendary "I don't know her" remark, paired with his deliberate display of knighthood at a Princess Catherine-backed event, marks a defining moment. It's a clear signal. Some ties are worth more than glitz, and some legacies are worth defending with unwavering conviction. This wasn't just a snub, it was a bold statement, drawing the lines of loyalty and influence in today's celebrity royal landscape. Turning down Meghan Markle's invitation became more than a personal choice. It was a manifesto for a new kind of stardom, one that balances fame with unwavering respect for long-standing traditions, while still embracing modern relevance. By publicly aligning himself with Catherine and the heart of the British monarchy, David Beckham is sending a clear message. It's possible to be a global icon without compromising values. He's carving out a blueprint for celebrities navigating the delicate world of royal affiliation, showing how to maintain authenticity, influence, and star power without being pulled into unnecessary drama. This is stardom with strategy, loyalty, and undeniable class. This saga highlights a major shift in how celebrities now engage with royalty. In the past, stars often chased clout by cozying up to any royal, regardless of reputation or agenda. Beckham's decision marks a turning point, signaling a more strategic and discerning approach. He isn't just picking sides, he's endorsing a vision of monarchy rooted in substance, one that is grounded yet forward-looking, exemplified by Catherine's grace and William's steady leadership. This isn't about flash, headline chasing, or hopping onto Hollywood-adjacent ventures like Meghan's Netflix pivot. It's about legacy, authenticity, and meaningful impact. Beckham demonstrates that star power can coexist with dedication to causes that matter, like Catherine's early childhood initiatives, which he prominently supported at the July 2025 gala. His actions set a new standard: fame aligned with principle, influence paired with loyalty, and celebrity choices that reinforce rather than undermine the institutions they touch. David's presence, knighthood gleaming for all to see, was a deliberate salute to a royal family that values duty over drama. The contrast couldn't be clearer. A steady, principled allegiance versus the Sussex narrative of reinvention and Hollywood reinvention across the Atlantic. The ripple effects are impossible to ignore. For Meghan, the refusal isn't just a personal slight. It carries professional weight. Industry insiders note her show's struggle for traction, underscoring the challenge of competing without heavyweight star power like Beckham's. Meanwhile, David's star only burns brighter. Each move, each calculated appearance, cements his place not just as a global icon, but as a celebrity whose influence thrives at the intersection of fame, loyalty, and timeless credibility. David's Emmy-winning documentary and the viral Beck Jam moment proved one thing loud and clear: authenticity beats overproduced polish every time. Social media erupted, praising him as the people's knight, while playful memes highlighted the Sussexes' faltering PR strategies. It's a masterclass for other celebrities. Aligning with the monarchy's core can elevate your influence instead of diluting it. But this story isn't just about Beckham, it's about Catherine too. Her resilience following her recovery, combined with a relatable approach to parenting and public service, has made her a natural magnet for figures like David, who recognize her as the embodiment of the monarchy's future. His support has been consistent and visible, from quiet hospital visits during difficult times to heartfelt public tributes, showing the world that loyalty and principle can coexist with celebrity, creating a narrative that resonates far beyond the tabloids. This partnership feels natural, not staged, and Victoria's role is key. Her style, often echoing Catherine's elegance at public events, signals a united front, a power couple quietly backing a royal one. This dynamic is reshaping celebrity-royal relationships, favoring those who share values over headline chasers. Looking forward, David's moves set a clear precedent. Celebrities are taking notes. Aligning with the Wales family offers long-term stability in a world dominated by fleeting fame. The gamble clearly pays off. David's approval ratings are soaring while Meghan's brand continues its uphill battle for relevance. This isn't about clinging to tradition for the sake of it. It's about a monarchy that evolves while staying grounded, a balance both David and Catherine exemplify. For fans, it's a refreshing shift. A royal family that feels aspirational yet accessible, a story of loyalty, authenticity, and influence. So, what do you think? Does David's stance signal a bolder, more relatable era for royalty, or is it holding tight to old-world loyalties? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share with fellow royal watchers, and subscribe for more insider dives into these glittering dramas. The stage is set for a new chapter, and we're all watching.